He talks a good game. He talks a good game on the X-Zone. He talks a good game. Hello, welcome to On the Ed-Son. I hope you're all well. Thanks for joining this, was it Wednesday? Is it Wednesday today? Yeah, Wednesday lunchtime. Going to be talking about, sports in general. A quick chat on that. Anything that comes up in the chat you want to talk about in terms of sports, in terms of football, let us know. Some interesting scores from last night. But actually, this live show is really all about boxing. We saw the last couple of days Tyson Fury's come back in to the mix at his press conference, fighting Makhmudov on the 11th of April. It's going to be at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. However, 60-odd thousand fans there. It'd be interesting to see if he fills that. Be interesting to see. The press conference was notably chaotic at times. Tyson Fury's dad just spouting off again and just making a complete idiot of himself again, just getting completely carried away, threatening, Cole Frotch and anybody else, and shouting and screaming, just being a complete oaf again. I mean, why, but there we go. But I don't want to talk about that. Talk about Tyson Fury. That's the main thing. He's, a lot of what you were saying was true. He's the big draw. He's the big attraction here in boxing. And I kind of feel what he was saying over the last year, since he's been out of boxing, it's got a bit stale. It's got a bit boring. Boxing's in a great place. It's doing fantastically well. But I said this a while ago, that boxing was, especially when Turkey Al-Sheikh Riyadh season came on, and the fights and the boxing nights that we thought was going to happen, it was just going to keep on building, and then it kind of plateaued off, and then it kind of dipped a little bit. Especially last year, I thought it dipped quite significantly. Whilst we had some highlight fights and highlight fight cards, it dipped a bit, and then there's a bit of uncertainty with Zuffa Boxing coming in. And they've had a couple of shows, and they haven't been that great, I've got to say. And it's been all right. The boxing, the atmosphere, the production's been a bit low key, and you kind of think, oh, do you know what I mean? So I can see, and in the heavyweight division as well, it's kind of gone off the boil as well, because nobody's really going for, we've had, of course, Wardley come up, and Dubar's going to be fighting Wardley soon for that title. We've had his fights. Usyk hasn't fought, and you kind of wonder who's he going to fight. The money isn't out there unless Tyson Fury isn't there. We know what's happened with AJ, the tragedy there as well. So, when he's going to come into big, legitimate boxing contests. So, it was all set up for AJ at the end of 2025 to dispatch Jake Paul, which he did eventually, and then come into 2026 and have some massive fights, right? That's what it was all set up for. Tyson Fury to return, AJ to return. And so, we accepted the lull 2025, but then 2026 was going to be massive. We don't know where AJ's at. So Tyson Fury saying, he's got a bit stale. And it was a bit stale for me. And a lot of things. But some of the stuff he's coming out with again, it's just ridiculous. So I'll dig into that afterwards. So if you got anything in the chat, let us know in the chat afterwards. I'm learning about the live shows more and more now and what they mean. And I really enjoy doing these live shows. I used to do them years ago, but I was just doing them ad hoc as and when. I join in on live shows for other channels, especially sports channels. And football channels, I join in for those. And then I was doing a lot of live shows at one stage about just engaging with people and talking with people. But obviously it's moved on from then. And so I'm just trying to do a catch-up of all the things that you can do with live shows. And obviously I know about engaging with other people and having discussions and everything. And I would change the system for that. But if I'm just doing this kind of podcasty kind of video, radio show, live show, then what I'm using is perfectly great. I can put up the comments on here and I can see exactly who's speaking to me or wants to speak to me or what opinions people have, which is great. I'm also learning about how you can support as well. I just found out the other day about these what all these super chat things are and super thanks and all these things, and I'm thinking, okay, this is all, I wasn't expecting it, but people can kind of, anyway, I didn't know it, right? So bear with me if I sound like like an old granddad here, but people can just do super chats and donate a bit of money or something to help support the channel, but put up your own special, like a shout out type thing. If you want me to shout out something on your behalf. So, as long as it's not defamatory or rude or anything, then sure, I'd do that. But, what I'm saying is I'm learning how to do the live shows a little bit better. I think I've got the scheduling right now. Right now, I'm just giving a half-hour notice of a schedule just to make sure that it's working out great. But if I'm planning a big show in the future, which I aim to, I'll give everybody a lot more lead time into this, a few hours or a day even, whatever. It depends how I take these live shows. But anyway, thanks for the support. Really support. Getting some nice messages out there, some emails and stuff. If you can go to my website, revelatoralf.com, there's all information there as well. I've had that for years as well, so you can go there and see what else I do and see all the other stuff I do, all the other channels that I've got, all the books that I sell, these kind of things. Yeah, these kind of things. Sports books, those books, motorcycle books, whatever, boxing, football. But anyway, I just thought I'd add that in there. But listen, thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching later, leaving your comments. But what I will say is this. Let's get back to boxing, right? This coming weekend of boxing is one of those weekends where you think, wow, this is fantastic. If you love your boxing, this is great. So for a British bust-up, right, we've got a great one, right? This weekend, British bust-up, you've got Lee Woods against Josh Warrington, right, in Nottingham, going off. Nice undercard, mix of undercard, men's and women's boxing. Molly McCann is fighting in there, and also Ryan against Zamora. Ishmael Davis is fighting against Fawaz. Now, I'm not sure if this has been confirmed, but Dave Allen is also fighting heavyweight contest, 10 rounds against Barrios from France. But again, I haven't had that confirmed. I'm not sure what the latest in there. I thought there was some doubt on that, whether that would happen or not. But he's on the undercard there, or the first fighter of the night, I should say. So it's going to be a very early showing for Dave Allen on that. So hopefully he'll come out on top, and hopefully he can build on from that and get some other fights. But Woods, Warrington, this is going to be a fantastic fight. A couple of years ago when they fought, these two guys are, they don't like each other. The sets of fans don't like each other. One's Leeds based, one's Nottingham based. Just up the road from the M1 from each other. They don't like each other, right? Football crowds as well, both struggling in the Premier League, both desperate to get the one over the other. It's it's set up for a right dust up. Last time these fought, Warrington was winning. He was definitely winning, and then Leewood just clocked him with a left hook, I think it was, and he went down and he just got him, and he just jumped all over him and he got him out of there. And I think it was in the 6th round or something, wasn't it? Out of nowhere, Leewood just won and just showed that you never can write anybody off, and he did it. So it depends how they're both come in, how they both prepared. They're in their 30s, middle late 30s now, 36, 37, 35, 37, whatever it is. So they're not young lads anymore, right? And this is for super featherweight. This is for 12 rounds, super featherweight. No titles here. This is just a good old dust up. They're going to earn a bit of money out of it. Watch this fight. This is going to be a great fight, honestly. So later on in the evening, of course, you got the American card. Ryan Garcia, Super King Ryan Garcia, going up against Barrios for the WBC World Welterweight title. It's on DAZN. Both of these fights are on DAZN, by the way. DAZN. Got a nice little undercard. Hitchens against Duarte. Russell Hirooka. Martin Albright. Melkuziev against Agbeko for super mid. But really, it's the top two. Hitchens against Duarte would be a really good fight. But Garcia, everybody's looking out for Garcia as a wonder kid, really, of boxing, to see if he can make a name for himself, get a title. A lot of people see Barrios as a poor champion, as a low-level champion. And Garcia, it really depends if you can match him in terms of weight, in terms of strength, in terms of speed, so on and so forth. So this would be a great fight, unless he screws it up beforehand and they catch him with some kind of doing something wrong, or doing something. I hope he doesn't screw this up for himself. I hope he can come out there, put on a performance, and because the likes of Tyson Fury, the likes of AJ, the likes of superstars like Ryan Garcia bring the money, bring the crowd, bring the attention, bring the crossover audience. They bring the show, and they can build up. So if you can build up stars like Ryan Garcia, and if he can legitimize himself in terms of winning a world title and say, hey, I am a world champion, by the way, or I was a world champion, if he loses it in the future, he's always got that to, hang his hat on and say, look, hold on a minute, I am, legitimate. It's not that I'm just about the show and, a pretty boy type thing. No, I've got the goods, and I've got the belts to prove it, right? So that's what you want. You want the perfect mix of internet fame, social media presence, commercial viability, commercial appeal, but also you got the boxing acumen skills to back it up. So he could be the perfect bundle, and in many ways he already is in terms of everything else. He just hasn't really delivered consistently, properly in the ring. There was a time when we thought, wow, he did that fight, had that fight against Devin Haney, then he popped for Osterine, so that fight was null and voided, as it were. But he smashed Devin Haney to pieces. He absolutely smashed him to pieces. So many people will question, well, is that Osterine, or it was just that much better than Devin Haney? Either way, he popped. So he should have. I think he should have been banned for a lot longer than that. But there we go. This is where we're at. But that fight is what is going to announce something. So if I drag this back to Tyson Fury, then there is a lot of credibility, I believe, in what he says, in terms of not necessarily that boxing needs him, but I believe that boxing needs these big personalities. It needs this financial draw. You can't just have people out there who don't say a lot, whatever. We've got Deontay Wilder, who spat off the other day on TalkSport podcast against Simon Jordan, that he didn't want to talk about Tyson Fury and everything like that. I made a show about that, a video about saying, well, actually, Simon Jordan caused that to happen. He shouldn't have let that get out of control. And it was poor interviewing. And, he was jabbing away. And you could see that what happened. Yeah, maybe Deontay Wilder overreacted or whatever. But at the same time, it's poor interviewing technique. And I think Simon Jordan would acknowledge that he was disappointed in himself that he let that get away from him. And that's the whole point here. But you need people like these Deontay Wilders to just rear up a little bit every now and again. You need these old horses like Chisora just to rear up every now and again. And the problem is, if you've got the next generation coming through who are not really doing that, then you haven't really got anything. So the likes of Tyson Fury saying, look, boxing needs me. It's look what I've brought. And he comes out with all the bullshit. The problem is with Tyson Fury, we know that half the things that come out of his mouth is bullshit. Everything that comes out of his dad's mouth is complete nonsense, is bullshit as well. It might not be bullshit, but it's just the way he does it, the way he delivers his arguments, the way he delivers his gripes. It's just keep it contained. What's the matter with you? And also, it's not about you, is it? It's about your son, fighting. That's what it should be about. But obviously, he doesn't see it that way. He sees it in, it should be all about him. And if he's not in the mix, then he's not in the mix. But for this fight, he definitely is in the mix. John Fury, I'm talking about, with his son Tyson Fury. He's fighting Makhmudov. He's basically not a great quality fighter, in my opinion. He just stands there, but he's got a lot of power, right? He's got a lot of power. When he went up against Ajit Kabir just took him down, went to the body, took him down, took whatever shots that Makhmudov had, and ate those up all day long. And just went to the body and just completely broke him. I don't see this anything but a Tyson Fury win. But he's going to outbox him, move around, outbox him. Makhmudov is not really going to lay a glove on him, I don't think. Tyson Fury says he's going to bash him up, he's punch his head in, he's going to try and knock him out. I wouldn't be surprised if he just uses him as a bit of a punch bag and gets a really wide points win here. The question is whether Tyson Fury has that knockout power. I'm not sure that he does, in all fairness. I'm not sure that he ever really has. But I could be wrong. This is just an assumption, or maybe just a thought, really, but I'm not really sure. But getting back to Tyson Fury now for this fight, he's basically saying that he's prepared, or he's preparing. He's taking it seriously, but he knows he's going to beat him, and he's looking down the road for the big fights of the future. And he's going to say, look, Usyk's going to come back begging to me to have a third fight. Because basically that's what he wants, right? He can't take it that he lost those fights. He doesn't admit that he's lost those fights. He thinks that it's all, everything's against him. I think there's been a bit of a falling out somewhere along the line between him, Riyadh Season, Turki Al-Sheikh. Maybe there's some discussions. I think maybe not falling out, but he feels hard done by after those two fights as well. And I also think that Tyson Fury has brought this deal with Netflix alive because of who he is, and the kind of power that he has in terms of appeal. Yeah, he's right. He's got his documentaries that have run well, and they probably will do well again, because it's the chaos around his life. It's the chaos around, the family and everything, the kind of people that they are. That causes intrigue. That creates drama. And when you create intrigue and drama, you create an appeal for some people to want to watch it. I never saw the first series. I'm not going to watch the second series. I have no interest in watching it, right? I'm not interested in how somebody lives their life. I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. I'm interested in the boxing. I'm interested in getting in the ring. I'm interested in training. So this leads on to the last point, and with John Fury giving his knickers in a twist over the whole thing. But now Tyson Fury saying he's not having anybody in his corner. He's not having a trainer. He's not having nutritionists. Let me just show you here from the boxing here, and basically the BBC website is saying, confirming no coach or nutritionist for the comeback. Which you would think is a bit of absurd. Why wouldn't you have a trainer in your corner just to give you that guidance? He knows a lot about boxing, of course. He's been there, seen it, done it. Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need a trainer to train him. He should have it in his arsenal to be able to figure that out for himself. But actually, the whole point of having a trainer is just to bounce ideas off each other, just to keep you on track. And especially when you're in that fight or in those training sessions leading up to it, and sparring sessions, is to be able to guide you in a particular direction and pick you up and make sure that your performance is, at optimal level. When you're in fight, is to be able to have somebody there objectively looking at it and saying, you need to do this, you need to pull that, you need to watch this. So whatever it is, you need that objective voice. This could really bite him on the ass, because if whilst John Fury has boxing knowledge and boxing, if it was Peter Fury in there as his number two in the corner, as it were, or his second, as it were, I'd be like, okay, fair enough. But John Fury, I don't. Okay, I'm a fighting man. I'm a boxing man. He knows boxing, right? But does that make him, the best person to have in the corner? Or maybe it is. Maybe that's exactly what Tyson Fury needs. He just needs somebody shouting at him, barking orders at him, and just talking in very plain language. In other words, if he comes at you without, just move out of the way and just whack him one. That kind of thing. Well, it's not technical guidance there, coaching, is it? But maybe that's exactly what it is. When Rocky Balboa says... in the film Rocky Balboa, because I'm seeing three of them, and the coach says, well, just hit the one in the middle, or his mates just says, well, hit the one in the middle, and then the coach says, yeah, just hit the one in the middle. That's it's that kind of thing. Sometimes the most off the wall instruction can actually be the one that you really need to hear, right? So maybe that's what's happening here. Tyson Fury, without a corner of note, he's going to have his dad in there. His dad's involved. But his dad is just making a complete arse of himself, making a fool of himself time and time again. And you kind of wonder, what is all this about? Honestly, what is it about? Really? But he's definitely money. He's worth the money, Tyson Fury. The chaos and the circus that comes with it, it's there is something appealing about it. I'm not saying it's great. I don't like it, but there's something appealing about it. I'm definitely tuned in to watch the Deontay Wilder Chisora fight, and I'm definitely going to tune in for the Tyson Fury fight, Makhmudov fight. But I'm. It's not that I've got anything against Makhmudov. I want him to get through this Tyson Fury because I want him to have a massive test. And I want to see the biggest test. The problem is if you give Tyson Fury too much power, he starts abusing it in terms of picking his opponents. So for me, he should go in with the winner of Wardley against Dubois. He probably won't. But that's what he should do, in my opinion. And let's just see if you still got it, right? And he probably won't go for in terms of power with those two because he's much too smart. He'll just outbox them, just a move, and he'll outpoint them. And fair play. If that's the way to do it, that's the way to do it. But I don't think you're going to knock them out. But I think you could easily outbox them, right? But then he's looking for that Usyk fight. He's looking for that Usyk fight to get that big money payday. If he's going to stay with Netflix, he can keep on bringing the audience to Netflix and get massive payouts from Netflix. Netflix are desperate to get into this boxing. They've moved into this boxing arena. Now they've legitimized Anthony Joshua coming over. That's opened the door for Tyson Fury to coming over, do a massive deal. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes from strength to strength. But he's got to have proper big fights. Not this Makhmudov fight is a big fight, it's a comeback fight. But the next fight, if he gets through it, if he's got anything left, of course, they've got to be big fights. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? I'm not going to be interested in him fighting some, journeyman somewhere. Well, what's the point in that? Nobody wants to see it. You want to see the fights that actually mean something. And if he's got anything about him, got those credentials, then he'll want to display them, right? He'll want to show it to everybody. But anyway, listen. Lots of stuff going on this weekend. Lots of stuff in the fallout from that press conference as well. That's still ongoing. Great boxing coming up this weekend and in the coming weeks. But obviously, then it's a bit of a lull. Then it sort of starts up again for April. April is going to be massive for those two big heavyweights. The first on the 4th, I believe it's Deontay Wilder Chisora, and then the 11th it would be Tyson Fury Makhmudov, and obviously also the undercard. Watch out for the fights this coming weekend. Great lineup, great stuff. And I'll be back for another live show soon, talking about football, talking about the Premier League, touching on some European football possibly, and also talking about West Ham, my team, and how we're gonna survive. the rest of the season. Right, catch you again another video, live show coming very soon. Thanks for the support. Thanks for all that sort of stuff. Thanks for watching. And whatever you want to do, and so I'll never ask you to subscribe. I'll never ask you to watch in terms of, you know, keep watching or thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. I won't do that, and I won't ask you for these super chat things, which I'm learning about. But of course, over to you. If you enjoy what I do, if you find it engaging, or you're interested, or you want to have your say, then do what you need to do. You know, and you know, it's very much appreciated. It's very much appreciated just supporting the channel, any support that I get, and just keeping the show on the road, as it were.